Welcome back to Panzer Paladin. We're visiting Switzerland, who I'm not sure how good this country is, but its flag is a big plus.
Why is the antagonist of Switzerland Bad Mr. Frosty from Clay Fighter?
Wow. That might win the most obscure reference on a BrainScratch video award.
Or it could be Michael Keaton from the Jack Frost movie he made in the 90s.
Okay, now that wins the most obscure reference on a BrainScratch video award.
I don't know. I think the fact that most people know who Michael Keaton is cancels out the obscurity of the specific movie.
No, he was Batman.
Yeah, I mean...
I like how that movie has a scene where he gets 2 snowballs thrown in his chest to mimic breasts, and his first thing to do is play with them. That was in a kid's movie.
And you see,
you're telling me that if you didn't
that
get...
movie, and if it's a movie that I, of all people, have seen, it can't be the most obscure reference we've made.
Are you saying that if you didn't randomly get breasts, you wouldn't play with them?
I already have breasts. What the hell are you talking about?
And you don't play with them?
No, not anymore. It got boring like 20 years ago.
Oh, wow, okay. Alright. Mr. gets breasts randomly.
What are you, gay?
Fellas, is it gay to play with your own man tits? The answer is no. You do you.
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, this started on an odd note, but it seems like we're in a fairly standard Mega Man stage here.
Yeah, you know, this stage
I mean, we were literally in Nightman. I mean, we were literally in Nightman stage last time, so.
And this is what was the name of the boss from Mega Man 5? The train boss.
Charge Man.
Charge Man, I think it was.
Well, it's a mix of Charge Man and Blizzard Man from 6.
I'll admit that I have an odd nostalgic attachment to levels that take place on moving trains, but it's not because of any of the games you might think of. It's because one of the first 4 video games I ever owned on our family Sega Genesis from that one Christmas back in, what, 94 or something. One of the 4 games that I owned were like Jurassic Park, Tom and Jerry Frantic Antics of all things, Sonic Spinball, and that Ronald McDonald game that had 4 levels in it. And one of those levels was a fucking train.
Man, can you not think of like a collection of games that's more fucking random than the 4 you just listed?
Well, yeah, but that's what happens when your parents have no idea about video games, you know?
Yeah, he likes McDonald's. Get him the McDonald's game.
And, you know, it wasn't a horrible set of games to start off on. It's just like every time people talk about how this amazing game, this amazing classic game was their introduction to a franchise or their introduction to video games. I didn't start out with the classics. I started out with Sonic Spinball, Jurassic Park, Tom and Jerry, and Ronald McDonald. The most B-list games you could ever imagine for the Sega Genesis.
It's time to form the Justice League. What heroes are going to form the Justice League? Oh,
no,
wow.
it's not the Justice League. It's that Chinese knockoff Action Hero Squad or whatever it was that had like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Shrek, and like one other character in it. I think it was a Blue Ranger.
Yeah, you know my favorite scene of Avengers: Infinity War is when before Nick Fury disintegrated, he dials the pager and the McDonald's symbol.
Well, you know,
flashes
if you want to go
credits
DC B-listers, you don't even have to mention Justice League because they have the Justice Society, which is basically not Justice League with a bunch of.
Well, no,
it's all the C-listers, isn't it?
The Justice Society is the Golden Age heroes like Alan Scott and Jay Garrick.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I might be thinking of somebody.
Both
if we're
Marvel
talk-
and DC have several books that are basically these are the Avengers / Justice League, but not the cool ones.
Like the only like high-profile Justice Society member I can think of was Power Girl, and
I mean, the Justice Society was also kind of Shazam's main stomping ground for a while in the comics.
Was it?
Yeah, but unfortunately, Shazam is not a high-profile hero anymore because it's not 1935. Which,
Well,
you know.
Well, this was more in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When that was the 80s and early 2000s, that was the case. He's probably the highest popularity he has been since the 30s.
Yeah, that movie
that's
was
true.
really good. Yeah, it was a good movie.
And, you know, maybe he'll do an Iron Man and come around, because Iron Man wasn't popular at all until the
Movie.
the Robert Downey Jr. movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we'll see. Unfortunately, the one time DC actually makes a good movie, nobody went and saw it. So
Well, it did all right.
it did, but like
Here's the thing, though.
Aquaman did better, which is like
Here's the thing, though. Folks really gravitated toward Iron Man not just because it was a decent film, because Robert Downey Jr. did such a fantastic job as Tony Stark.
Yeah, that also had a lot to do with Robert Downey Jr. himself. Had a couple hard years, and so like that movie was his like big return to the screen, which I think also.
Well, you see, I didn't know anything about that as I saw the movie first time. I ended up still loving his performance anyway. I just thought he was really good for the role. I love Shazam, but I wouldn't say I don't remember the actor's name, the one that played him.
Billy or Shazam?
Shazam.
Zachary Levi.
Was that,
See,
I thought he did a great role, but I don't think he was like the Robert Downey to Tony Stark.
Robert Downey Jr. I only know for his excellent Iron Man and his goddamn annoyingly bad Sherlock Holmes. So,
if you want another good movie with Robert Downey Jr. in it, you should watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It is like a noirish comedy.
Yeah.
Detective story.
Was that
really,
before
really
all of his
good.
rehab, or?
It's just kind of
that
like...
was the first movie he did after his rehab, before Iron Man. And it's actually like amazing. You should watch it.
I mean, I already have a chip on my shoulder about Sherlock Holmes portrayals being too modernized a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes was not great.
But Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes was just Robert Downey Jr. playing Robert Downey Jr. So
yeah, he pulled he pulled a Johnny Depp. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And to the lesser extent a Jim Carrey. But Jim Carrey has been a little bit better about that. But
Jim Carrey has got more range than people give him credit for. It's just that.
Yeah, I know. It's just sometimes I'll never get over a series of unfortunate events. Him just not bothering to try with Count Olaf and just doing Jim Carrey for an hour and a half. I'm still salty about that. That's one of my favorite books as a kid.
To be honest, I've never seen Jim Carrey do a particularly villainous role, so maybe that is just outside his wheelhouse. I don't know.
What about Cable Guy? You ever watched Cable Guy?
Cable Guy? I think I might have, but it's not bringing to mind anything in the area that I'm thinking of. So, like, certainly not Count Olaf.
Yeah. Oh God. Sorry, I just Count Olaf, and then there's Olaf the Snowman from Frozen. And since we're fighting a snowman, I just imagined Count Olaf like
As
in
a
the
snowman.
books, but
this
just
is pretty
as
extreme 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon we're playing right here.
Frozen Olaf. Oh wow, okay.
You just hear Jim Carrey going, "I've been impaled."
Okay, so you see, now I get to actually do the one thing I never thought I would do and ask somebody else why they aren't doing the backdash. Because this game does have a backdash option. Maybe if if you did it more, Johnny would like this game more. Sorry.
You unfortunately can't. You unfortunately can't
We
abuse it.
finally cracked the code.
You unfortunately can't spam it for speed running in this game.
It is.
Oh, you can. You just have to be careful about it.
Ow!
So,
Come
you were
on!
s-
I was
oh,
that close.
They had no health left. I was about to say, you managed to pull a clutch victory outside of the suit, but he got you.
it's a like obscure speedrunning trick, but if you like turn around right as the thing is ending, you will end the cooldown slower, faster, and be able to backdash across the stage, looking like a dumbass, as every other game with a backdash does. But when you're using it in combat like you're supposed to, it actually does help with dodging.
Looking like a fast dumbass.
Yeah, but also a dumbass because you don't walk like that.
Sometimes.
Alucard.
Yeah, but I'm also not a half vampire either.
Sometimes-
Alucard, they spent 3 days without eating in order to make that walking animation.
Sometimes,
It's beautiful.
and-
Just
yeah.
let us do it.
Sometimes, and I would argue actually most of the time, the speed running or speed up strats tend to put a damper on the experience by spoiling the serious feeling of the game with something that looks fucking illogical and ridiculous.
But nothing's stopping you from playing it casually.
Yeah, I
so
know.
just play the game the way you
It's just,
want.
you know,
I'm just now imagining Alucard in the Castlevania Netflix series, just walking backwards everywhere.
I mean, if we were...
And everyone looks at him in like a Trevor and Cypher, just looking at him weird, and he just keeps getting further and further ahead of them. It's like, what?
If we were playing a survival horror game or something, and one of the speedrunning strats was something like twitch up the stairs like a squirrel having a seizure.
I love stair pumping.
That if that was one of the ways to go faster, and we did that the entire playthrough, it would just ruin the mood of the whole goddamn thing, you know?
Our commentary doesn't ruin the mood of every survival horror game.
Watch the Resident Evil 1 remake commentary that I put.
Well, it would ruin the mood for us, okay? Or at least for me. And that's the most important thing.
So that's actually something I do appreciate about Super Mario Odyssey, is that the speedrun shenanigans you can do in that game actually not only look cool, but look like something that Mario would normally be doing a lot of the time.
Well, yeah.
Like hop, skip, jump, wall jump, do these flippy shit, which is
well, yeah.
normally
Well, barring stuff like Mario 64's slide up a slope exploit, most of the stuff you do in 3D Mario to speed yourself up is taking advantage of the moveset you already have. It can be a little silly when you're sliding on your belly across an entire map in Sunshine or something, but it's not quite as ridiculous as jittering up a set of stairs backwards or something.
So that's actually, people are really committed to not playing Super Mario 64, because the version in the Mario All-Stars Switch port is like some...
It's a Shindo version.
Yeah, it's some
Japan.
Later release that
it was a re-release in Japan with Rumble Pack support, and they patched out a few bugs like backwards long jump.
Yeah, so what they now do instead is wall jump back and forth between two walls at the top of the stairs in order to clip through the door in some ridiculous bullshit. And it's just
because there's no speed cap from jumping off walls, so
yeah, it's like
it's very slow and incremental, but you can't get enough speed to where you get the speed of a BLJ to get through the door. Yes.
But it's like, guys, just play Super Mario 64. I thought you were supposed to like
It's
it.
faster.
Millions of times.
I don't know. I get that, like, playing it a bunch does wear out its welcome, but, like, at the same time, I don't really see the appeal in going back to a game just to not play it.
Yeah, but do you see the appeal of having your name on a world record screen?
No.
Okay.
Have you guys ever done a time attack? Like, seriously.
I mean, I've done races for like charity.
I don't like time trial modes, to be honest. I don't like anything that involves rushing through a stage. I mean, occasionally I might do 1 or 2 relic runs in a Crash Bandicoot game for the novelty of it, but I never bothered to collect the relics in any of the games. So,
I thought that wait, so the relics are different than the... Is that like the blue and the platinum ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. After you beat a stage,
You
and
get
the
those
crystal,
from time trials.
You can go back and do time trials on the stage. The thing that makes those time trials cool is that you can collect certain boxes along the way to freeze the timer, and so there's an element of strategy there, which is why I occasionally will play one, but I don't really, in general, care all that much about speeding through a game.
So in Crash Bandicoot 4, in order to get those, do you also have to get all the boxes on a time limit?
No.
In order to get the super duper
Actually,
No,
in Crash 4, the time trial relics were one of the things I would say they improved over 3, because they change up the boxes for the time trial run more thoroughly than they used to. You'll see more TNTs, more Aku Aku masks, just a generally more mixed up box arrangement than the normal stage. So there is more of a unique strategy to getting through the level during the time trial than there used to be. So that's fun. I will commend them for making the mode better, but personally I'm more of a meticulous perfectionist kind of gamer than I am a speed gamer.
Oh, I wish I was less of a meticulous perfectionist, because that's been the bane of my existence, especially when I've been playing Streets of Rage 4 lately. Amazing game, I love it to death, but I had to stop playing it for a while because I really wanted to get the S ranks on some of the stages, and in order to do that, I have to basically get ridiculous like 80, 90 hit combos in order to get the points you need in order to get some of them. And if you get hit once, you lose it. And I mean, I'm just playing on normal mode. I'm not even trying to do it on hard mode or whatever, and I'm just not good enough. So it's just like, oh god, I gotta restart. And after a point, I'm just like, no, I gotta play a different game, because if I keep on trying to go for the perfect run here, I'm gonna not like to play Streets of Rage 4, and that's not something I want to subject myself to.
Well, good news, Ted. They're about to release another Streets of Rage game, but it's Yakuza themed.
Streets of Kamurocho. Yeah. I'm so hyped. that
I mean,
that is a
cool.
That is a genius little freebie. I'm glad for that.
I mean, neat, but I also don't really care about Yakuza that much.
They're also releasing something called Golden Axed, which is actually a game that they were working on at one point but wound up canceling. So it's just sort of like a mini taste of what could have been.
I just like the name Golden Axe.
I mean, that's neat, but I haven't played a lot of it, but I never really found Golden Axe to be that special.
Oh, Golden Axe is absolutely not special.
Okay.
It is.
I'm glad that I'm not the only one who thinks
It is
that.
one of the stiffer, more limited action games that came out of that particular era and genre. The most interesting thing about it is the animal riding, but as far as
like I didn't ever play a lot of it, but I was just like
the animal riding in the optional
Altered
stages.
Beast. I was like, why do people consider these games classics? I don't understand. Was there nothing else to play on the Genesis? The answer was probably yes, because the library was a good deal smaller than Nintendo's.
The library was, I would say, yeah, a fair deal smaller than Nintendo's. I would say that Golden Axe didn't really get good until, what, the third game? Probably the third game.
I played the first one a little bit and then stopped.
The third game was marginally better than the first two. I can't stand Golden Axe 2. Something about just the general look and feel of the game puts me off immediately. The first one's okay-ish.
I'm trying to imagine playing an beat 'em up on the Genesis and having it not be Streets of Rage 2 or 3, and it's just that the idea otherwise is just kind of baffling. I mean, I guess people like Comic Zone, does that count as a beat 'em up? I've never played it.
Comic Zone? No, it's a different kind of action game. I mean, it is a beat 'em up, but it's a different kind of action game from the usual arcade style.
It's also significantally harder.
That too, yeah. It's very hard.
Oh, well, don't say that, because I can't beat Streets of Rage 2.
But Comic Zone, while its gameplay is ultimately mechanically not that unique, the visual style and animation really sell it. It is so good at that.
There's a lot of games like that where if the graphics weren't that good, nobody would have cared, like Donkey Kong Country.
Well,
I went there, I pulled a Miyamoto, yeah!
The sprite work is beautiful, but it's just that they really nailed the idea of playing through an action game that is constrained to comic book panels.
Oh, so is it like room by room, but they're panels?
Every room is a panel, yeah, and there are multiple pathways you can take through a level.
Oh, that's neat.
And the animation and art quality is like by Sega Genesis and SNES era standards, it really did feel like you were playing through a comic book. And the main character himself was a comic book artist who got sucked into his own comic, so it had an amusing story hook in there too.
Oh, that's neat. Maybe I'll check it out one day.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
You know, I shouldn't say that because we have been inside and doing nothing for the past 6 months, and I have not even dented my backlog.
Do you not have a Sega Genesis compilation of some kind?
No, I probably have it on something, so I could.
Oh, the mini?
Because Comic Zone is one of those ones that's on almost everyone. In fact, it was one of the unlockable games in some of the Sonic collections.
Yeah, no, I definitely have it because I have the Genesis collection on Switch. I just look.
Yeah,
there's a different. There's saying you're going to actually fill out your backlog, and then there's actually going to fill out your backlog. It's like it never happened.
A Sega game, I feel, is something that you can easily just dip into for 10 minutes to see how you like the feel of it, and then put it away for another couple weeks until you're in the mood to actually go back.
Oh, I never noticed how many of the statues from Medusa were in the stage before this point. Like, I noticed them all there, but earlier in the stage I noticed that, oh crap, those are people turned to stone, like that.
This is like wait, the mech turned to stone?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you get hit by the laser. I mean, I don't know how that works.
That
Granted.
that shouldn't work.
I mean, by all accounts, neither of them should ever get turned to stone because they're both artificial.
Yeah, the girl's a robot too. Which is
Well,
also...
like, if I remember the exact myth, like, only looking directly at Medusa turned you to stone. And it wasn't even,
Yeah.
like, some intentional power she had to use. If she was asleep and you looked at her face, you would turn to stone.
Yeah, it's something that changes depending on the variation of the myth. Like, there are some where it's just like, oh, only if you look directly into her eyes
I don't know,
while she wants
I've-
to do it.
I've never heard an actual variation of the myth that does it. What I have seen is a lot of pop culture osmosis versions of Medusa that people mistake for the myth. But those are just our, like, modern takes on it, rather than an actual version of the myth from back in the day.
Medusa was also not the only Gorgon. There were 3 Gorgon sisters, if I remember.
Yep.
Yes, that's why usually with the games that have big Greek stuff will have more than just Medusa in there.
I think she was
Because-
I think she was unique in that she was the only mortal Gorgon sister. But
Yeah, because oh god, if I remember
She was
correctly,
the one with the tragic quote unquote backstory on top of it.
yeah. So if I remember correctly, it's like it wasn't even her fault. It was like some guy perved on her, and as punishment for being perved on, she got turned
'Cause
into a Medusa.
there are several
Because
variations.
the guys don't like it when. Yeah.
Several variations. One of them was an intentional love affair with Poseidon. One of them was just her being boastful and being punished by Athena. It's interesting because the story about Perseus wasn't even technically about killing her. He was just sent to collect her head because the king wanted him out of the way, I guess.
Yeah, Perseus did a lot of shit. Like, I think he also did the Minotaur, too. Like, the king just really wanted him gone and, like, kept on sending him to do dangerous crap.
Mm.
And I think he did the Minotaur. Hold on, I'm gonna quickly Google Perseus Minotaur. Did he actually... Yeah, he did fight the... Oh, no, it was Theseus, not Perseus.
Totally different.
Perseus, Theseus, a lot of yeses.
We'll see all of you next time.
Okay.